In this version of Swan Lake here in Amsterdam from Rudy van Danzig, I would say that it's probably the hardest I've ever seen. In our version, there is no cut on the music score, so it's probably the longest Swan Lake I've ever seen. And the Prince in this version, he does a lot. Usually it's always about the girl, you know, with all these difficult solos, the fouettes. And in this production, we dance the whole first act with Alexander, which is Benno in some of the productions, but in our version, the friend of the Prince is called Alexander. So we danced with him and the two other girlfriends the whole first act. And right away, in the end of first act, we have this adagio variation. And by that time, you didn't leave the stage. Your calves are very tight from all this running around and jumping around. And you have to be very soft and very grounded in this adagio variation, which makes it very, very hard to, you know, keep all these relevés and these positions with in balance, but also be free and melancholic with the upper body. You have to keep it really calm, because at the end of the day we are a prince. And that is a bit harder for me, for Victor. But I love a good challenge, and I'm trying to dive deep into the role. Also because I never done it before, so I'm trying to create a new Prince Siegfried for myself and apply the technical elements that I know into the role, but also try to be a bit more soft. But it's been very interesting, the process with my coaches. They've been helping me a lot. I have Rachel Bujan, who has been here in the company, and she danced actually the premiere of Swan Lake by Rudy. She was one of the big swans. and also Joseph Vargas, who just retired as a dancer, and he was also a wonderful prince. So there's lots of tips coming from everywhere, and I'm trying to put that all together and apply for my own prince. The first time I watched Swan Lake was through YouTube. I always dreamed to dance the prince in Swan Lake. And by the time I was in Brazil, my teacher always told me that it was a variation for a more mature dancer, not for a kid. But then it turned out that the year that I was leaving from Brazil, after winning scholarships in Britosan, she let me dance for my last competition in Joinville. It's like the biggest competition in Brazil. And then I won the first prize with the variation from Swan Lake. That was my first contact with this ballet. Yeah, and then the first time I actually seen a performance of Swan Lake live was in Berlin when I was a student of the school. If I'm not wrong, it was Polina Semyonova dancing, and I was mesmerized by the whole thing, you know, like the swans, and it was probably one of the first big productions I've ever seen with the full corps de ballet, such a prima ballerina like herself. And then I went to Russia and I watched Swan Lake at the Mariinsky, which is probably the most iconic ballet that they danced since kid of times, but nowadays it's let's say, the gold card of the company. And it was very magical, and ever since I always wanted to dance. For these 5 years I was there, I didn't get to dance it, but I prepared with my teacher last year, just before the war. About a year ago, we were actually preparing Swan Lake together, and I never got the chance to dance, but now 1 year later, I'm dancing Amsterdam. The variation from the Grandpa with the Black Swan, which there you're happy, you found the girl you want to marry, and you're celebrating, and you know, the technique and the music, it helps. It's a happy dance, I would say.